Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my home. My name is Becky, and I am so excited that you're here today. Today, we are going to finish up my fall 2025 Fall Decorate With Me series with a full house tour. I have worked very hard putting everything in its place around the house. If you have not seen my previous videos and you're looking around and you're like, oh, I wonder how that came about, then you can absolutely go back and watch my previous videos. We kind of went room by room and decorated each one of them, and it's all on my playlist, so just go back just a few videos and you should be able to find it. But what we're going to do today is we're going to start. It's still morning, actually it's getting close to afternoon because I have been dilly-dallying all morning, but it's still morning, it's still bright outside. So we're going to do a daytime tour of everything, and I'll show you how everything looks. And then later on this afternoon, when the lights start to dim and the sun starts to go down, we'll come back in and I will do a dark tour or a lit up tour. I don't have a lot of lights out for fall. I do a majority of my lights when I decorate for Halloween and for Christmas. So you're just going to see little twinklies here and there. You're not going to see a big extravagant light show, but it's still cozy and warm. And I just love the glow of the amber glass with the candlelight and the lamp light as opposed to overhead light and sunlight. That's a lot of lights. But anyway, we're going to do a tour. So let's start outside on my front porch, and then we're going to move inside and I'll show you everything that I've done. So we're going to start on the front porch. I'll just kind of give you an overview. Do not let the leaves on the ground fool you because it is still very, very much hot around here. I don't even know what the temperature is today, but it is quite warm. We're going to start with my little flower bed. I made this flower bed last year, and this is the second year that I've been able to decorate it, so I am having a good time with it. I got these little scarecrows from Hobby Lobby, and these flower pots all came from a yard sale, and I just stuck some little Juanita flowers in there and some corn stalks that came from the Dollar Tree. And then over here I have my little Temu flag, which is cutest little thing you've ever seen. I have some more flower pots that came from the yard sale and some more Juanita flowers. If you don't know what Juanita flowers are, they're just fake flowers. My mother's name was Juanita, and she used to decorate with fake flowers, and I do this kind of in her memory. We made this little scarecrow together in a video not too very long ago, and we also made that little tree together. When you come back this afternoon for the nighttime view, you'll see that tree does light up. My husband made this bench for me, and I just like to decorate it with some cute seasonal pillows, and we made this sign here together, and I always like to put something around the sign that describes what season we're in. So this year I decided to put some little leaves that came from the Dollar Tree. They're just made out of what is that stuff? Rattan? No, I'll have to come in later and tell you the material. I don't know, rattan, raffia, something along the lines of that. And then over here I have this beautiful sign that my sister painted for me, and I usually hang it up on the wall, but this year we just kind of stuck it in that corner because I ended up making a little project for another video where I use these melamine plates and I put my house numbers in there, which I do have covered up for privacy reasons. And then down here I used a magazine rack and just stuck some more Juanita flowers in there for each season. We're going to change that out if I decided to keep that up. And then the other DIY project that we did here on the porch was this wreath. I got the flowers, the wreath, everything came from the thrift store, and I just put it together, and I also did a video with that as well. So a lot of the things on my porch are DIYs, and a couple of them are thrifted pieces, and a couple of them are purchased from like Temu or Dollar Tree. This little rug, for example, came from the Dollar Tree in the $5 section. So one more shot of the outside, and then we're going to make our way inside to see what kind of goodies await us there. All right, we're gonna make our way inside, and as usual, I will give you a disclaimer to please ignore my dirty door. You would think after all these years, I would have cleaned it up by now. I'm also gonna tell you that my washing machine is a big beating and a banging out there, so if you hear it, I do apologize. This is my home. It is an open concept home. Everything is kind of out for you to see and on display. So as soon as you come in, what you see is kind of what you get. And we're gonna start in the living room first. So the very first thing that I decorated this year was my mantle of my brand new fireplace. I love this fireplace. My husband built it, and you're gonna see a lot of things in my home that are custom that he built himself. But this right here is our pride and joy. You know, not pride and joy literally, but I am so proud of him for building this for me. It is just so beautiful. So I have never decorated it for fall yet. I did get it in time to decorate it for Christmas last year. So this was the first year getting to decorate it for fall, and I was really excited. So it was the very first thing that I decorated, and I'll take you a little closer so you can see everything. But all I did was I put a base garland down, and then we just filled it full of all of these little beautiful leaves and picks and sticks, and then we added some pumpkins. I added a few of my vintage pieces, and then some of these pieces up here are not vintage at all. They're brand new from a modern day store. And if you want to know where each piece came from, then go back and watch that video. My little candlestick is a little crooked. So I think for the home tour at night, I'm gonna try to light these candles for a few minutes so you can see. I did realize in the middle of decorating that I should have gotten electric candlesticks, but at that point I had already purchased these, and I was a little late in the game to do that. But next year, if I do something similar, I may in fact get electric candlesticks so that I can actually light them up. Down here, I just have a cute little scarecrow that I made. David cut out all the pieces for me, and I painted him. He's in the same type of pattern as the scarecrow out front, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, if you're new to the channel, the scarecrow on the front porch, his name is Owen Wilson. And once you hear that and see him together at the same time, you will never unsee it again, because he looks like Owen Wilson. I'll put a little picture here of him so you can be reminded of what he looked like. So we just took an old basket, stuck some pumpkins in there, and made a cute little decoration piece down here on my hearth. David also made this shelf for me too, and I love it because it's reminiscent of a mid-century piece that we had purchased previously that I had given to my daughter. I didn't want to give it up after I bought it, and David said, well, let me build you one of your own. So it's the exact replica of the mid-century shelf that we bought for her. So when you come in this afternoon, there'll be a few twinkly lights here, and there'll be a few twinkly lights here up on the mantle as well, because I put some fairy lights up there. So we're gonna move over here. This is just our good old standby recliner. I do get a lot of comments on my furniture, because my home, I like to say that I have a mid-century styled home, and a lot of people will say, well, your furniture doesn't really reflect that. And we know, we understand, but at the same time, it's very expensive to replace furniture based on your style. So I do my best to decorate my furniture based around the style that I like. So we just have these big bulky brown pieces. I'm not telling you that we love them, because we do not. We would love to replace them, and we may one day, but for now, this is what we have. I did take one of my vintage shawls or Afghans or blankets, whatever the correct term is, and I threw it on the back because I just wanted that touch of vintage in here. I had planned on hanging it on my blanket ladder, but when I pulled it out and I put it on my couch, I decided that that was the place that I wanted it to be. And then we have another piece that my husband made here, this coffee table. I just took an old basket, threw some flowers in there, and made a centerpiece for my coffee table. I typically have this as a centerpiece for my table, but we did something different this year and we moved it to the coffee table. I also want to quickly mention that I did change out the scarf that was on the coffee table. There was a white lace sort of table runner that was laying here. I did get a couple of comments saying that it kind of stood out in the decorate with me, and I agree with you 100%. I just did not have all of my pieces in front of me at the time that I was decorating, but I did come back later and I absolutely switched them out. These are actually placemats that were gifted to me, and I just took 3 of them together and just made a table runner. And above my couch here, I have this shelf that I love this shelf, and if you come back tonight, you're going to see that those little candles will be twinkling as well. This shelf used to be what I called my mantle, and I would decorate it big and elaborately, but since I've moved my furniture around to fit my new fireplace, this shelf kind of gets put on the back burner, and I kind of miss it, but I think I did a good job of doing it justice this year. I really like how it turned out. Everything's different than in the past, and I was also able to add some vintage as well with my little owl there, and I think he's precious popping up there in the corner. But most everything up there is modern, but it still kind of gives you that vintage feel, and I love that. And then we're going to come over here. The last thing that I have to show you in my living room is this little shelf, and I house all of my amber glass, well, not all of it, but some of it, and I didn't want to go too crazy up here. I didn't want to change everything out, so I just added some beautiful glass pumpkins, and tonight you will see this glass will be, you will see this candle will be flickering, and it'll kind of give it a little bit of magic glow as well. But I just stuck some pumpkins up there at varying heights, and then I put some fall leaves around it, and I really love the way that looks. So we're gonna slowly turn around, and I will try to go slow so I do not make you dizzy. My hutch will be the next thing that we talk about. You will notice that there is a Christmas tree over here. I also decorated my tree for fall, and I love it. I think it's so pretty. My fall tree is probably the most beautiful tree that I put together. And actually, we're on a bad side of it because this is the back side. So let me show you the front side so you can kind of appreciate it. The only thing I can tell you is that that bow is horrendous. I know it is. I was going to get my sister to replace it for me, but we just have not been able to get together to get it done. And I also threw these little things here up there because I had a few left, and they don't look the best in the world. I know. I just kind of stuck them up there because I needed to get them, you know, I didn't want to pack them away. I didn't want to separate them from the other ones that I had used in the house, so I just stuck them up there for the time being. But somebody asked about the tree stand. David made that because when I bought this tree, it lasted 1 year and then it broke. So he made that tree stand just off the top of his head. He just came up with the design on his own to keep, so that I would still be able to use my tree. All right, there's my tree, and then here is my hutch. I did add my cute little scarecrow down here that I got from maybe Marshall's, I think, and he's adorable. And then I bought these vintage plates, these stoneware plates, last year at an antique store, and I love using them for fall. They just kind of make everything magical and beautiful. The only thing I think I would have done differently is I would have put some of my larger pumpkins up there at the top. But I didn't think about it until it was too late. And the thing about it is my fall decor only stays up for 3, maybe I might push it to 4 weeks, but usually about 3 weeks. So when I see things that I would have done differently, I usually just make a mental note to do it next year, because it just doesn't stay up long enough to really make me want to go change everything. The other thing that I want to mention is that I was on the search to get some more of those little wicker plate holders like that. And you would know that no thrift store I have been into, and believe me, I have been looking for them. I have been to my fair share of thrift stores, have had them. I wanted to replace these brown dishes with the wicker plate holders because I just thought that wicker softened things up. but because I'm looking for them, of course, I cannot find them. So that's another thing that's going to be added to next year's list. And then this is the other shelf that I have that I house all of my amber glass. And all I did here was I changed out a few plates to the orange ones so that they would match everything, because the previous ones in there were a beautiful yellow. I added this pretty scarf that we got thrifting the other day. And then basically all I did was add some florals and some pumpkins, and I called it a day. And with the glow of the lamp, you really can't go wrong. It's just beautiful. Now, down here on my dining room table, it is another piece David built. I told you there was a lot. And basically what I did is I tried to make it look as vintage as possible. I got these placemats from Home Goods. I got 2 sets of them so that I would have enough. And they were the perfect touch to add to my table. They just made me think of a good old-fashioned fall at my mom's house, something she would have used on her table. And anytime I find a piece like that, I gravitate to it because it just gives me all the good warm feels, fuzzy feelings in my stomach, and I just love it. So same with these candlesticks. They just reminded me of my childhood. I did try something different with a centerpiece. This was just it's like a little soup bowl, soup tureen of sorts, and I used it as a vessel to do a centerpiece, and it matches the little coffee cups and saucers that are sitting on my place setting. So really pretty. I've enjoyed it. I did add these sweet little squirrels in later to give it a little touch of ta-da. And hopefully tonight I'll have those candles lit up. But mental note for Becky, because I do come back and watch my videos before I start decorating for the next year, get some electric candlesticks, girl. Get some electric ones. So we can light these things up that are so pretty in the house. And this is just my good old standby. I do this every year. I never change it up. I don't do anything different just because it's easy. I can throw it together quickly. I did plan on putting that other Afghan here to change it up this year. When I ended up putting it on my couch instead, I just said, oh well, we're just gonna keep it the way it always is. So that's just my blanket ladder. My friend Regina gave me that, and I decorate it for every season, just like I do all of my little corners and nooks and crannies. Over here, this little shelf here came from Hobby Lobby, and I always try to change it up a little bit. I really love how it turned out this year. I wasn't quite sure where I was going to put my little squirrels this year. I was not finding a place for them, and when I made my way over to this vignette, they just spoke to me sitting here together in a little setup. So I love that. And I ended up putting these little salt and pepper shakers here beside them because I thought they just kind of looked like they just were the perfect size and the perfect little touch to go there. And then in this corner here, I got this new lamp for my birthday. I bought it for myself, but with money that David had given me to spend on myself. And I cannot get this thing to melt a candle. I don't get any scent coming out of it. It's just pretty. That's all I can tell you is it's a pretty glow. It's got a beautiful color to it, an amber color. But as far as functioning properly, it does not, but it's pretty. So we're gonna leave it like it is. I ended up putting those little salt and pepper shakers here because they match my little tray that I have sitting here holding my candle. And I also have a spoon rest that is dirty right now because I've been using it, so that's not sitting out. The smell of that candle is amazing, by the way. It smells so good. And then over here I have this adorable little hand towel that Julia sent me. I can't remember if Julia said she made it or her mother made it, but regardless, I love the little squirrel in there. And then I found these little leaves at a thrift store for 50 cents, and I just hung them on the corner. And then this is my final little vignette. I tried to make it match the other corner, so I had 2 of those those white squirrels, and they seem to just look so good popping off the backdrop that I had up there with the busy wallpaper and all of that. So I thought they went really well up here. It didn't overtake the corner, and it was just a touch of fall along with some little picks and sticks and a simple pumpkin. And then I think the only other thing I have is this cute little Currier and Ives tray. I love it. I wish I had a more prominent place to put it, but for now it's cute up there. Okay, so I think that is everything. Lily's outside begging for food, so I'm gonna have to stop and go feed her and David. So when I come back, it'll be a little darker outside. It'll be the perfect time to start lighting candles, turning on lamps, turning on fairy lights, and I'll show you how it all looks in the afternoon when we get home and what we get to see. All right, I thought I'd go ahead and pop in and film my outro while I have an empty house, even though it's still daylight outside. Thank you guys so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me. It always means the whole world. Please go back and watch my old decorating videos if you haven't seen it. If this is your first time here, welcome. We are so happy to have you here. We have a good time around here. We're always doing something fun. We're always into some kind of mischief, some kind of shenanigans, and I want you to be around for all of them. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, all of that good stuff, and come back and see me. Until next time, I love you all, and I'll see you later. Bye.